The following KRBC presentation is brought to you by McMurray University. Celebrating Hispanic heritage in the Big Country. This is Hidden History on KRBC, Abilene's local news.
Thanks for being here for this special presentation of KRBC, Abilene's local news. I'm Samantha Jones.
And I'm Joni McKinnon. During this next 30 minutes, we will be highlighting the Hispanic heritage of the Big Country and surrounding area.
We start with the man who's become the go-to historian for local Hispanic history.
Our Catherine Garcia introduces us to the man helping to keep the history alive in Abilene.
It's just history that's passed on.
A Purple Heart recipient, Mike Hernandez has endured an important moment in history himself. The Vietnam War.
And we were on patrol in October 1967, and our squad ran into a landmine which exploded, and I lost my right eye, shrapnel wounds.
After being medically retired from the Marine Corps, he returned to the Big Country, where he has since delved into Abilene history and recovered many forgotten Hispanic names.
The conquistadores came to this area in the 1500s and later on in 1700s, and the beginning of the first Hispanic barrio in Abilene in the 1920s.
The historian saying with the help of the Hispanic Heritage Committee, he has connected stories from history books with donated family photos. That's
a great excitement, especially for those people that our ancestors were the first to settle in Abilene in the 1900s, 1920s. They come and look at the pictures and rekindle their memories.
Usually behind the camera, Hernandez has documented moments in recent history to continue the stories and legacies.
It's given me great pride to see other people light up when they see a picture or when they read about something that occurred during their lifetime.
In Abilene, Catherine Garcia, KRBC, Abilene's local news.
It took 2 presidential proclamations to officially recognize Hispanic Heritage Month. The observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded to a full month by Ronald Reagan in 1988.
Washington, D.C. correspondent Alexandra Limon talks to immigration activists about the history of the month and how the celebration is being observed today in light of the turmoil surrounding immigration.
Hispanic Heritage Month celebrates the culture and contributions of Hispanics to the United States of America.
It has been in place since Lyndon B. Johnson, and it was expanded under President Reagan.
Rafael Medina with the Center for American Progress says Hispanic Heritage Month started as a week-long observance and was expanded to a month-long celebration in the 1980s.
Since then, every president has signed a proclamation beginning in September 15, and it goes until October 15.
But Medina says 2018 has been a difficult year for Hispanics. He points to the White House and President Trump.
I think it's very clear that he's very insensitive and doesn't actually care about the Hispanic community.
Medina says even the annual Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation has been tarnished.
Last year, President Trump signed the proclamation right after he had rescinded the program DACA.
DACA is the program that protects young immigrants who were brought into the United States illegally as children. The program's future is still uncertain, and Hispanics have also felt the effects of the president's zero-tolerance policy.
Thousands of families, hundreds of children remain separated from their parents at the border.
Chris Shimolensky is the deputy director for Numbers USA, an organization that strives to reduce total immigration numbers. He says it's possible to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month and at the same time enforce immigration laws.
While the administration has implemented a zero-tolerance policy along the southern border, it's not targeted at Hispanics. It's anybody who crosses the border illegally is going to be prosecuted.
Shimolensky agrees Hispanics have done much to shape American culture.
There are thousands, millions of Hispanics that have come to this country legally and have contributed over generations and made, again, viable contributions to the United States. And I do think we should celebrate that.
On this, Medina agrees. In fact, he says it's now more important than ever to remember all that Hispanics bring to life in America.
For Hispanic Americans who still believe in the American dream, who still believe in inclusivity in culture, to not grow apathetic and to register to vote.
He also wants to celebrate all that Hispanics will contribute in the future. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Alexandra, thank you. Religion is paramount among the Hispanic culture.
Catholicism, hugely influential in its role throughout all of its culture. It cannot be understated. Right now, we're looking at the influence of Catholicism among today's culture.
Among the most world-renowned legends from New Mexico is that of the Loretto Chapel in Santa Fe.
It gives me great pleasure to be able to talk about this to anyone who comes to visit us.
The chapel, which was built in 1878, was in dire need of a staircase above the choir loft. After 9 days of prayer, a mysterious carpenter showed up looking for work. Months later, a grand spiral staircase was built, and its carpenter had disappeared. Legend has it, it was the patron saint of carpentry, Joseph himself, that answered the sisters' prayers.
I believe that it was definitely a work of divine providence. In some way or another, I'm sure St. Joseph was involved. And as far as the details, I'll find out on the other side.
75% of adults in New Mexico identify as Christian, and of those New Mexicans, 32% are Catholic. Some 30,000 people from all over the world participate in the pilgrimage to El Santuario de Chimayo. Then there are the thousands that flock south of Albuquerque to Tomé Hill.
When I had my own children, that is when it really clicked for me, the importance of the continuity of tradition.
Sean Wells is a fifth-generation Spanish colonial artist who is carrying on the artistic tradition of Catholicism by painting retablos, artwork done on wood featuring the saints.
People use the finished art as a commodity of love and respect. And I don't think that happens in other art forms.
In an age of skepticism, New Mexico remains a state of faith.
No explanation is necessary if you have faith. And if you don't have faith, maybe no explanation will do.
Chad Brummett reporting.
Thank you, Chad. We are just now getting started here on Hidden History.
When we come back, how an Abilene school is taking a bilingual approach to education. This is KRBC, Abilene's local news.